Welcome back to Sport Lab, your go-to for elite football insight and Champions League breakdowns. Tonight, we're dissecting the semi-final first leg between Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain, where Ousmane Dembele's early strike handed the French giants a crucial 1-0 advantage at the Emirates. Let's break it all down.
That is still another game. Anything can happen there, but this is a team, like I said to you, that knows how to control their subject, and they did that tonight.
Paris Saint-Germain were far better than Arsenal and deserved to win, but that doesn't mean Arsenal cannot go through. They will need Paris Saint-Germain to drop their level slightly in the second leg, and Arsenal just need to raise their level, and maybe then they meet somewhere in the middle, and then it's about who gets the first goal. If PSG get the first goal in the second leg, it's probably tie over.
Well, Micah, we got a full post-game coming.
Oh, hey, let's go.
One full hour, everybody.
Stick with us, please.
It's not over, and what was important was just my own experience of playing these two-legged ties. There's no doubt when the Arsenal players get back to the dressing room, they'll all be giving each other that look that we've all done as players. We're thinking, they're better than what we thought. We've played them earlier in the season, beat them 2-0. I know they played well against Liverpool, but when you beat someone convincingly like they did earlier in the competition, that stays in your mind. You probably go into the game confident. I felt even before the first goal after 3 or 4 minutes they scored, didn't he?
Yeah.
But even in the first couple of the minutes of the game, we were speaking here thinking, oh, they've just sent a little message to Arsenal. They were keeping the ball and being brave on it and beating the press, and then they got the goal. And a whole stadium, just everyone everything drops. You know, this was not part of the supposed party, if you like. And the problems they had, they were just getting played around. We mentioned this before the game, the rotations, maybe the extra body in midfield. Arsenal like to defend 4-4-2, and they all cause real problems. And this the whole atmosphere just goes dead. But actually, in some ways, if you watch the game back, and after 3 minutes of PSG go 1-0 up, and then you know how the performance goes for the rest of the game, and you say it finished 1-0, it's not the end of the world for them. And they've just got to hope in some ways that they can bring Paris Saint-Germain down, not down to their level. I think Paris Saint-Germain are a better team than them. But what Paris Saint-Germain did tonight, they are a great team. But if they play like that at home, they're going to knock Arsenal out. But Arsenal just got to stay in the game as long as they possibly can, and it's all about the first goal. If they lose the first goal, it's virtually impossible. If they get the first goal of the game next week, it's game on.
Give us your thoughts on everything that's been said so far.
Well, I'm going to repeat what I said again.
Go ahead.
It's just because we like to do that on this show. It's going to be the same thing again, like I said. There is another tie. You never know what's going to happen. I'm going to use Paris Saint-Germain last year against Barcelona. Everyone thought he was dead. Then Araujo gets sent off after, I don't know how many minutes it was. And then suddenly, Paris Saint-Germain go on and win the game really easy away against Barcelona. Anything can happen. I said it before. They didn't score that second goal. You're still in the tie. Now I'm going to repeat what I said, is Paris Saint-Germain were far superior for me in this game. So a lot needs to be changed in order for Arsenal to make sure that they can beat Paris Saint-Germain over there, and it's going to be a different ball game. But as soon as Dembele came out in this game, Paris Saint-Germain dropped a bit more. It was easier for Arsenal to put pressure because Dembele wasn't coming and getting the ball. It was a bit different tactically in what Luis Enrique was doing. He accepted to not have the ball in the last 20 minutes. But yeah, like I said, you're still in the tie. Anything can happen.
Just one thing before we go to, I think we've got Hakimi a little bit later on.
Oh, you've got a
you mentioned that they've got no real
What's his
star.
first name,
I know
Jamie?
you meant
What's his first name, Jamie?
He's not listening, is he?
You're bad. You're very bad, Kate.
I just remember you avoided it last week.
No, just to go back to the point, you say they've got no superstars. I know what you meant by the Kylian Mbappe, Messi,
Everybody.
that ilk. But I actually think the right back and the left back are superstars. I do. I think Hakimi's different level.
Is he now your favourite right back in the world?
Still top two.
Top two.
Still top two. Yeah. I don't want to deviate, you know what I mean?
He's not the best.
I don't want to be reactional.
Is he not the best?
He's up there. It's a matter of opinion. He's top two, like I said before.
Is he not the best?
He was magnificent tonight.
All right.
Okay, nice try, everybody. Let's bring you PSG's Achraf Hakimi because he's over there waiting to speak to us live from...
Had no answer tonight. We saw the fans filing out of the stadium there. It wasn't quite the occasion that we were expecting it to be, was it? We were talking about Arteta telling the fans to bring their boots, bring the shirts, bring the noise.
Yeah.
And you could even see the players trying to G them up a lot of the time. But Gary said in commentary there, maybe concentrate on doing your job on the pitch.
Yeah, Gary's got a point. It's a bit of both, isn't it? You know, if they're performing at a high level on the pitch and creating loads of chances, the fans naturally would be up. But a few times Arteta as well was actually screaming at the crowd, trying to get them up, because you really, when you're in the big semi-final, the Champions League is a huge game. You would expect that, you know, you've seen the Paris Saint-Germain fans, they were singing the whole way through, weren't they? But I just think that how well PSG played it, the fans are, you can see one of the ladies at the end there, she was a bit in shock, you know, hands, you know, in their head, thinking, no, their chance could be gone. It's definitely not gone, don't get me wrong, but the atmosphere was a bit quiet, and I think that's probably because of the performance of PSG as much as anything.
I think the atmosphere was quiet because Arsenal never managed to get any period of real sustained pressure on the PSG team. You talk about the Aston Villa game, but Aston Villa had them by the throat for about 15 minutes second half and like didn't let them out of their half and just kind of pounded PSG, and they almost went under. Never got a sense that they had their moments second half. Arsenal talk about the Trossard chance. Saka had 1 or 2 moments as well.
Martinelli at the end of the first half as well.
Yeah, but no periods, no 15-20 minute period where they penned them in, cross, come into the box where the crowd could get behind. Never got a sense of that. Plenty of fouls in the game. Kind of game was broken up a little bit, kind of fragmented. I think that suited PSG as well.
Are we in danger of bigging PSG's performance up too much? Maybe not the most spectacular one they've put in. We've seen a couple of great ones against Liverpool and Villa. Were you impressed with what you saw from them?
Yeah, I think the fans were in shock. I think like most of us were of how dominant PSG were. I think everybody was expecting like a really open game, a really exciting game, and I thought PSG just really controlled that game. So yeah, it was. It's going to be a big ask for Arsenal.
Big ask, but it is only 1 goal. Paris Saint-Germain missed a couple of late chances. Arsenal need to get their shooting boots on for the second leg, which we'll have live next week after the break. Plenty of analysis of what we've seen over the last 90 minutes. Didn't quite live up to what we were hoping for, but plenty to talk about here. In particular, your this week's opinion on Donnarumma, Shay. Sometimes he's the best keeper in the world, other times he's a complete fraud. So where are you on him now?
Love it. It's a proper love in now.
Well, he likes playing in England, I know that much, because they're playing against English opposition, because he's played brilliantly against Villa, Liverpool and of course Arsenal tonight. This is the first chance just before half time. You know, talk about important saves and moments in the game as well. Imagine Arsenal get an equaliser here just before half time. That's a great save. I think Martinelli just got caught up. He couldn't get the power behind him, and maybe Donnarumma read that one. But this is a phenomenal save. This is one of the best saves you'll see all season. It really is. And why I say that is because he gets set, watches his position, and then he gets down. We talk about the size of him, the frame of him, and sometimes it's difficult to get down because he is so big. But I love he just gets enough on the hand to get it around the post and get away from danger as well, out for a corner. This is probably a more straightforward save. You know, Saka wriggles his way clear, and it's still a very good save at his near post. But he's grown on me, Owen, I'll say that. He's definitely grown on me. He's
can't grow anymore. I
thought he couldn't get down low, Kenny.
No, we'll say that. I didn't think he could make that save.
Yeah.
The Trossard save. And he was close in. He was only about 8 yards out. Trossard at the edge of the box hitting that. Yeah. So that was a brilliant save low down to his left-hand side.
There's nothing wrong with that finish either, really, was it? The Trossard one, he did all what you would do as a striker.
Yeah, go across the keeper. You're kind of hoping if the keeper does save it, he powers it out and someone else taps it in, but to touch it round the post like that and stop.
It was interesting to see just the build up to that chance with Declan Rice marauding forward like that. We did peg before the match the fact that wouldn't be happening as much, and it probably didn't, but that was a rare enough sight.
It was an isolation, yeah. It was such a shame. We spoke about it. These are the ramifications of not having Partey in the team. He had to pick and choose his moments in terms of when to get up the pitch. We can see how he affects the game when he dries out from that central midfield area. And that's going to be key in the away leg at PSG. You have to give him that freedom to make those decisions to get the team up the pitch.
PSG have thrown away much bigger leads than this. They nearly did it against Aston Villa in the last round. So it is still alive in the second leg, thanks partly to a couple of chances they missed late on.
Yeah. When after the Arsenal chances, PSG kind of go into the game. Barcola came on fresh legs, and he just lays it off, moves inside, does a 1-2 with Ramos, and he's in. And you're just thinking, slotted, and he kind of drags it past the post. I likened it to Lukaku finish, but Lukaku always found the bottom corner. You know, it just slipped past the post, and you're thinking, you know, Arsenal could come back here. It looked like one of these games was dead and gone. And Saliba stops here, plays the offside, and then just lets him have a finish. It's a strange finish, I think. I think he kind of. It's good if he's like got no time, but he had plenty of time to try and slot it around. Unlucky to hit the crossbar to get so much height off his toe, but you know, he's a better striker than that. He should be finding corners.
It's a big worry though, 40 yards straight ball over your two centre halves. He has time to take a touch, have another touch, have a look, see who was around him, and then decide to take the shot on. That's a massive
The only thing you would say is because there's such big chances and they're late on, one's 83, one's 85, massive chances within the tie. I mean, the two ties. If one of them goes on Arsenal, for me, you're gone. So Arteta look on that goes, we're still very much in the tie. We've still got an outside chance.
Go on.
Oh, That was a bit of a contradiction in there. Very much in the tie with an outside chance.
Is that not the same thing? What I'm saying
that
is
sounds like a bit of the opposite. I know what you're saying.
No, but
I
if,
think they're
if
struggling.
it's 2-0, then it's
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
like
You're right. 2-0, it's over. You're right. I think
especially going out to Paris as well. I think it was vice versa. If they had went to Paris and got a 1-0 defeat out there and gone back to the Emirates next week, you'd be going, they've got a good chance.
Well, I think certainly Arsenal are going to have to do a lot more than they did tonight. We can have a look at some of where things went wrong. You could have picked out probably 20 of these clips, Kenny.
Yeah, just generally in terms of the quality of their pass and the combination play, that little bit of individual quality at times. Odegaard, we know how good he is in these areas. Shifts around the inside. Trossard just doesn't see the picture there. Again, Marino's trying to force a ball on the inside there that's not on. Should be just popping that to Martinelli. Wrong decision. Again, Odegaard sweeping it out to Marino. That's not good enough there. Again, just lend the ball. Look at Martinelli on his outside shoulder. Just played into his feet. He's driving towards his 6-yard box there. Even Saka, we spoke about, he always makes the right decision in these situations. Should really play Timber early. When eventually does, it's a poor quality pass. So too much of this on 1 or 2 or 3 during the course of the game. Fair. Look at Rice here. Absolutely phenomenal. I expected anyway to get that shot off 1-2 touch. And even then Martinelli could do better. So too much of that during the course of the game kind of really restricted him in terms of creating that kind of sustained pressure and creating those clear-cut opportunities over the course of 90 minutes. Weren't at their best.
The best piece of quality all match arguably happened very early on with the PSG goal.
Yeah, we said before how quick
it took PSG just 8 minutes to stun the Emirates. Ousmane Dembele, cool, clinical, and completely unmarked, fired home from close range to give Luis Enrique's side the perfect start. Arsenal, stunned by the early setback, never fully recovered. The Gunners had their moments. Gabriel Martinelli and Leandro Trossard both forced top-tier saves from Gianluigi Donnarumma, who reminded everyone why he's considered one of Europe's best shot stoppers. Frustration for Arsenal. It wasn't just missed chances that left Arsenal frustrated. Mikel Merino's header, which briefly looked like an equaliser, was ruled out for offside, a decision that had fans and players fuming. Referee Slavko Vincic was booed off at both half-time and full-time, but the real story. Arsenal lacked cutting edge in the final third and will now head to Paris needing something special. PSG's missed chances could be crucial. While PSG will be happy with the win, they missed 2 massive chances late on to put the tie to bed. Dembele nearly bagged a second, and Kvaratskhelia fired wide after a slick counter. Luis Enrique will be aware, a 1-goal lead is fragile. But make no mistake, PSG now have the upper hand heading into next week's second leg at the Parc des Princes. What's next? Before the return leg on Wednesday, May 7th, both sides return to domestic action. Arsenal host Bournemouth on Saturday in a must-win Premier League clash. PSG face Strasbourg earlier that day in League One as they continue their march toward another domestic title. The winner of this semi-final will face Barcelona or Inter Milan in the Champions League final on May 31st at the Allianz Arena in Munich. So, can Arsenal turn it around in Paris, or is this finally PSG's year to conquer Europe? Let us know your predictions in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that bell icon for all the latest Champions League analysis, second leg previews, and more. This is Sport Lab, where football meets clarity. See you next time.